Lion begs gorilla for help. What happened next left scientists stunned. The agonized roar of the male lion shattered the tranquil air of the Tanzanian savanna. It was trapped, hanging upside down from a large tree branch, its leg oozing dark red blood from the tight rope snare. Nearby, a gorilla named Koko, who was foraging, suddenly stopped, ears perked, and darted toward the sound. But its next action stunned scientists. Instead of helping, it just stood there, eyes filled with conflict. The morning in the Tanzanian Wildlife Reserve was scorching hot. Harsh sunlight beat down on the vast savanna, causing the ground to shimmer with heat. Ancient baobab trees stood tall, their sparse leaves trembling in the dry, gusty wind silent witnesses to this wild land. The air hung heavy and stifling, hinting at a day far from peaceful. Leo, the majestic male lion with a radiant golden mane and proud eyes, had once been a symbol of strength in the reserve. But now he was helpless, dangling from a large tree branch near a steep cliff. The hunter's trap gripped his left leg, the rope digging deep into his flesh, blood dripping steadily onto the parched ground. Every movement sent waves of searing pain through him, and Leo's roars morphed from challenges into desperate cries for help. Echoing across the wide expanse, the situation grew dire as the sky shifted. Dark clouds rolled in from the horizon, blotting out the glaring sun. The wind strengthened, swirling dust and rattling the branch holding Leo. A storm loomed near, distant thunder and lightning threatening to swallow the savanna in its fury. With each gust, the rope tightened, worsening Leo's wound. Time was slipping away. His breaths weakened amidst the pain and exhaustion. In that moment, Koko the gorilla stood frozen, staring at Leo, massive and muscular, with hands strong enough to snap branches, yet it didn't move. Would Koko abandon Leo to his cruel fate, or was it waiting for something? The answer hung in the next few seconds. As the storm closed in and Leo's roars faded into the howling wind, Koko, the large but timid gorilla, had been slowly picking young leaves near a dense bush in the Tanzanian savanna. Midday sun filtered through the canopy, casting dappled light on its glossy black fur. Suddenly, a roar pierced the stillness, not the usual commanding roar, but one laced with pain and despair. Koko's head snapped up, ears alert, wide eyes fixed toward the sound. Though shy, its curiosity and compassion wouldn't let it ignore the call. With cautious steps, Koko edged toward the roar. As it drew closer, Koko spotted Leo, the mighty male lion, hanging upside down from a large branch. The rope coiled tightly round Leo's left leg, blood streaming down, soaking the earth below. Leo's struggles were feeble, his roars now hoarse and mournful. Koko stopped dead, heart pounding. It had never seen a fearsome predator like Leo. In such a pitiful state, Leo's helplessness sparked a surge of empathy in Koko's chest. But fear crept in too. Koko knew lions were dangerous. Even trapped, Leo's sharp claws could still lash out in panic. And that sturdy rope snare, Koko had no clue how to undo it. It took a step back, its gaze torn between pity and self-preservation. Helping Leo could endanger Koko, but walking away gnawed at its conscience. Koko wrestled with an intense inner conflict. Finally, after a tense pause, Koko turned to leave. It couldn't risk its life for a lion. But a few steps in, Leo's desperate roar rang out again, faint, yet pleading. The sound stabbed through Koko's chest, halting at mid-stride. Koko looked back, locking eyes with Leo, exhausted, yet clinging to a flicker of hope. In that instant, Koko knew it couldn't abandon Leo to die in agony. It had to act. Then, a spark of inspiration hit. Koko recalled the nearby ranger station where humans lived. They had strength and tools Koko lacked. If it could guide them here, they could save Leo. With fresh resolve, Koko bolted across the savanna, its powerful legs propelling it toward the station. The path wasn't safe, though. Hunters roamed the reserve, their footsteps and gunshots echoing faintly. Koko stayed low, weaving through tall grass, dodging their prying eyes. Its heart raced, but thoughts of Leo spurred it on. After a nerve-wracking trek, Koko reached the ranger station, a small wooden cabin nestled in the savanna. Without hesitation, it hammered the door with its strong fists, thuds ringing out. Grunting, Koko pointed toward the forest, gesturing urgently as if shouting, "Follow me." The rangers inside jolted at the noise and flung the door open. They gaped at the gorilla standing there, eyes brimming with worry, motions frantic. One ranger, Tumo, quickly grasped Koko's plea for help. He rallied his team, grabbed their gear, and raced after Koko toward Leo. When they arrived, Leo was nearly spent, but thanks to Koko, a sliver of hope remained. Koko's brave journey had lit a lifeline for them both. Dust draped the reserve, the sky a menacing gray. Koko, ears sharp and eyes keen, guided the ranger team through winding trails. Amid towering grass, they hurried to reach Leo the lion, ensnared by poacher's rope, battling for every breath. But danger lurked. As they passed a thicket near a cliff, Koko froze, sniffing the air, its neck hair bristling. From the dense foliage, 5 men emerged, silently hunters, rifles clutched tight, eyes icy and hostile. Tumo, the lead ranger, signaled his team to stop. He knew these men a notorious poaching crew that plagued the reserve. Tension thickened. The air, pierced only by the wind's whistle and pounding hearts. Koko stood caught between the rangers and hunters, eyes darting nervously. Tumo understood a fight would be risky, but time was against them. Leo lay ahead, inching closer to death. "What are you doing here?" A hunter snarled, his raspy voice dripping with menace. He stepped forward, gripping his rifle tighter. Tumo stayed calm, raising his hands in peace. "We're just doing our job. There's an injured lion that needs saving." The hunter smirked, suspicion glinting. "A lion, or are you meddling with us?" Before Tumo could answer, a thunderclap shook the earth. The wind roared, kicking up dust, heralding the storm's arrival. With no time to waste, Tumo motioned his team to slip away via another route. Koko, instinct sharp, led them through hidden paths among grass and rocks, evading the hunter's sight. Still, the brief clash delayed them, and Tumo's dread for Leo deepened. When they finally reached Leo, the sight broke their hearts. The lion lay crumpled beneath the tree, his once mighty frame frail and pitiable. The rope bound his leg, blood streaking the ground. Leo's eyes were closed, his breath shallow, like a flame flickering in the wind. The storm's first raindrops fell cold, heavy as thunder growled and lightning split the sky, pressing them to act fast. "We've got no time left," Tumo urged. He ordered his team to ready the tranquilizer gun, the only way to still Leo and free him without more harm. But the fierce wind complicated everything. Gusts battered them, making Tumo's hands shake as he aimed. A miss could panic Leo, worsening it all. Under the intensifying rain, Tumo steadied himself, aimed at Leo's shoulder, and fired. The shot cut through the wind, the dart striking true. Leo flinched, growled weakly, then slumped into unconsciousness. Without delay, the rangers rushed to Leo's side. Rain poured down in torrents, soaking their clothes and gear, but no one paid it any mind. They carefully untied the rope from Leo's leg, each movement gentle yet urgent. The rope had cut deep into his flesh, leaving a long, bleeding gash. They lowered Leo to the ground, placing him on a tarp to shield him from the rain. Tumo knelt beside him, inspecting the wound. Fortunately, the rope hadn't reached the bone, but Leo had lost a dangerous amount of blood. He pulled antiseptic and bandages from his backpack, beginning to treat the injury, his hands trembling from the cold and the tension. Just then, a gunshot rang out from the distance, slicing through the sound of the rain. A ranger on lookout shouted, "They're closing in." The hunters, it turned out, hadn't given up. They'd tracked the rescue team from afar and now chose to strike. The situation grew more perilous than ever. Tumo ordered some of his team to stand guard with rifles, while he and another ranger continued tending to Leo. Thunder and rain blended into a chaotic symphony. The dim light of the late afternoon, shrouded by the heavy downpour, blurred everything into a suffocating haze. Koko, though not fully understanding the danger, stood by Leo's side, its fur drenched but its eyes sharp with vigilance. The hunters drew closer, their shadowy figures flickering through the rain. The rangers raised their guns, firing warning shots into the air. The gunfire echoed, mingling with shouts and the howling wind. The standoff stretched on for a few tense minutes, but eventually, The hunters realized they couldn't overpower the rangers' resolve. They retreated, vanishing into the thick rain, leaving behind a heavy silence. The rangers breathed a sigh of relief, but their work wasn't finished. Leo needed a safe place to recover. Under the unrelenting rain, they fashioned a stretcher from the tarp, lifted Leo onto it, and began the slow trek back to the ranger station. Koko walked alongside, its eyes reflecting a mix of worry and hope. The storm raged overhead, but as Leo stirred slightly on the stretcher, a faint spark of life flickered back. After the fierce battle and the downpour, the Tanzanian reserve settled into a tense stillness. Leo, the majestic male lion with a golden mane, had been brought back to the station in critical condition, the deep wound on his leg, a brutal mark from the hunter's trap, filled everyone with concern. Under the faint glow of the ranger station's lights, Tumo, a seasoned ranger, and his team worked quickly to save him. They cleaned the wound, stitched the torn flesh, and wrapped it carefully in crisp white bandages. Leo lay motionless, his breathing weak but steady, as if fighting to reclaim his life. Days passed, and Leo slowly regained his strength. One early morning, as the first rays of dawn pierced through the leaves and lit the station's roof, Leo opened his eyes. His golden gaze glimmered with life, though still tinged with exhaustion. He shifted, testing his trembling legs. Tumo, watching from a distance, couldn't hide a relieved smile. "You did it, Leo," he whispered. After a brief check, Leo seemed ready. He turned to Tumo and the rangers, his eyes carrying an unspoken thank you. Then, with slow but determined steps, he left the station, vanishing into the deep forest. The sight of the lion fading into the greenery left everyone with a bittersweet pride. Leo had returned to his pride, where he belonged. Meanwhile, Koko, the strong and loyal gorilla, had paid a price for its courage. During the chaotic clash with the hunters, Koko had fearlessly stepped forward, using its massive frame to shield Tumo and the team. A stray bullet grazed its left arm, leaving a long but shallow cut. Blood seeped from the wound, staining its black fur, yet Koko didn't flinch. It stood firm, its gaze steady, as if reassuring everyone it was fine and would keep protecting its friends. Once the hunters were subdued, Tumo quickly checked Koko's injury. He gently bandaged its arm, whispering his gratitude. "You're my hero, Koko," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Koko nodded slightly, its thoughtful eyes drifting toward the forest where Leo had gone. The wound, though not severe, stood as a testament to Koko's bravery and sacrifice. In the days that followed, Koko healed, but the small scar on its arm remained an indelible memory. The confrontation with the hunters ended dramatically but swiftly. With Leo saved and Koko injured, the other rangers leapt into action. They surrounded the rattled hunters, who were reeling from their defeat. The gunfire stopped, replaced by cries of surrender. Working in unison, the rangers apprehended each hunter, binding their hands and escorting them back to the station for processing. Under the faint night lights, the rangers' weary but resolute faces shone with pride. They had protected the reserve, saved Leo, and kept each other safe. Peace settled over the station after those harrowing hours. Tumo and his team gathered around a small fire, recounting the bravery of Leo and Koko. They knew that without the animals' sacrifices, the day could have ended in tragedy. Joy and gratitude warmed their hearts as the fire crackled, lighting up a long night in Tanzania. Time moved on, and Koko's wound healed fully, leaving a small but distinct scar, a mark of its valor. It returned to its wild life, foraging and wandering the tropical forest near the Rocky Mountains. One sweltering afternoon, Koko stood by a clear stream, sunlight filtering through the leaves, casting shimmering patterns on the water. It bent down, scooping cool water with its hands, savoring a rare moment of peace in the harsh wilderness. Suddenly, the air thickened. A rustling sound rose from the bushes, and before Koko could react, a pack of fierce hyenas emerged. They surrounded Koko, their eyes glinting with hunger and malice. Their growls reverberated, shattering the forest's calm. Koko backed away, searching for an escape, but the stream blocked its retreat, and the hyenas tightened their circle. Though large and powerful, Koko knew it couldn't take on the whole pack alone. It roared defiantly, but despair began to creep. In that desperate moment, a commanding roar thundered from the distance, so mighty it made the hyenas freeze. From the thicket, a pride of lions appeared, led by Leo, as regal as ever. His golden mane gleamed in the sunlight, his sharp eyes sweeping over the hyenas with a silent warning. Leo recognized Koko instantly, the gorilla that had once saved him. Without a second thought, he stepped forward, his roar echoing through the forest, rallying his pride for battle. The fight was quick but fierce. Leo led the charge, his claws and teeth flashing like lethal blades. Roars and yelps filled the air as the lions, with their strength and unity, overpowered the hyenas. The once bold pack scattered in panic, leaving Koko breathless but unharmed. Leo stood tall amid the chaos, his gaze locked on Koko, ensuring his old friend was safe. As the dust settled, Leo approached Koko slowly. The two stood face to face under the blazing Tanzanian sun, time seeming to pause. No words were needed. Their eyes said it all: gratitude, loyalty, and a friendship that defied nature's rules. Koko touched the scar on its arm, looking at Leo with warmth. Leo, proud and noble, dipped his head slightly, as if vowing to never forget Koko's sacrifice. The story closes with Leo and Koko together, bathed in golden light. Their bond a stunning testament to compassion and sacrifice in the wild. In a world of relentless challenges, their friendship stands as proof of the power of kindness. A tale to be read beneath Tanzania's green canopies for years to come. What did you think of this emotional journey? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this heartfelt story, don't forget to subscribe to the Animal Kissa channel for more incredible tales. Thank you for joining us. Your support keeps us going.